Welcome to Stories from the Holy Book, where timeless truths and sacred stories come to life. In ancient Israel, a time marked by turmoil, shifting alliances, and deep uncertainty, the people found themselves caught in an unending cycle. When they turned away from God, they would fall into the hands of their enemies. Yet, when their suffering became unbearable, they would call out to the Lord, and He, in His mercy, would send a deliverer. Among these chosen leaders, one stands out not only for her wisdom and courage, but also for breaking the expectations of her day. This is the story of Deborah, a prophetess, a judge, and a mother in Israel. The tale unfolds in the book of Judges, during an era when the Israelites again did evil in the eyes of the Lord, now that Ehud was dead. Judges 4, chapter 1, NIV. Enslaved under the oppression of Jabin, king of Canaan, and his ruthless commander Sisera, the Israelites suffered terribly. For 20 years, Sisera's iron chariots and formidable army made the Israelites quake in fear. Hope seemed lost. Amidst this despair, the people sought guidance and wisdom. In those days, Deborah, the wife of Lapidoth, was leading Israel. She held court under the palm of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim, and the Israelites went up to her to have their disputes decided. Judges 4:5 NIV. Unlike most leaders of her time, Deborah was a woman, yet she commanded respect, not with force of arms, but with insight, integrity, and an unwavering connection to God. She was a prophetess, someone chosen to convey the Lord's will to His people. One day, Deborah received a divine command. She sent for Barak son of Abinoam from Kadesh in Naphtali, and said to him, "The Lord, the God of Israel, commands you, Go, take with you 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zebulun and lead them up to Mount Tabor. I will lead Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his troops to the Kishon River, and give him into your hands." Judges 4:6-7 NIV. Barak's reply revealed both faith and hesitancy. He said to Deborah, "If you go with me, I will go, but if you don't go with me, I won't go." Judges 4:8 NIV. Deborah's courage shone brightest at this moment. She answered, "Certainly I will go with you, but because of the course you are taking, the honor will not be yours, for the Lord will deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman." Judges 4:9 NIV. Thus, the unlikely duo of Deborah and Barak prepared for battle, rallying the people to resist the might of Sisera. The day of battle arrived, and at Deborah's urging, Barak and his army descended Mount Tabor. Judges records, "At Barak's advance, the Lord routed Sisera and all his chariots and army by the sword, and Sisera got down from his chariot and fled on foot." Judges 4:15 NIV. The invincible chariots became useless, bogged down by a sudden storm and the rising waters of the Kishon River. Panic swept through the enemy ranks, and Barak's forces claimed a resounding victory. Sisera himself escaped, running on foot until he came to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, believing he had found safety. Yet while he slept, exhausted from battle, Jael drove the peg through his temple into the ground and he died. Judges 4:21 NIV. The prophecy was fulfilled. Sisera ultimately fell by the hand of a woman. On that day, Israel knew freedom. Deborah and Barak sang a song of victory, a declaration of faith in God's mighty acts. Village life in Israel ceased until I, Deborah, arose a mother in Israel. Judges 5:7 NIV. Their song celebrated those who willingly offered themselves for God's cause and praised the Lord for His deliverance. When the princes in Israel take the lead, when the people willingly offer themselves, praise the Lord. Judges 5:2 NIV. Deborah's story, preserved through the centuries, offers deep lessons and enduring inspiration. First, it illustrates that true leadership flows not from position or tradition, but from willingness, faithfulness, and the courage to follow God's call. Deborah stood as an unlikely leader, a woman in a male-dominated culture, but her wisdom, spiritual sensitivity, and compassion set her apart. She did not seek her own glory, but heeded God's voice and served her people. Second, Deborah's story reminds us that God chooses and empowers individuals regardless of their background, gender, or social role. When Deborah declared, "I arose a mother in Israel," she redefined leadership in terms of nurturing, guidance, and self-sacrifice. God's work in the world is not bound by human expectations. He delights in using the humble and unlikely to accomplish great things. Third, her partnership with Barak highlights the power of collaboration. Deborah did not act alone but called others to rise with her. Even when Barak hesitated, she did not rebuke him harshly but instead offered her presence and support, underscoring the value of encouragement and shared purpose. Fourth, Deborah's confidence was not in military strength, political power, or clever strategy, but in God's faithfulness. Her song overflows with praise, acknowledging that the stars fought from heaven, and that all victory ultimately belongs to the Lord. Judges 5:20, NIV. Obstacles that seemed insurmountable, iron chariots, powerful armies, became nothing when confronted by God's might. Finally, the story ends with the words, "Then the land had peace for 40 years. Judges 5:31, NIV. Deborah's leadership brought not just victory, but lasting peace. Peace rooted in justice, faith, and obedience. At its heart, Deborah's story teaches us that God sees beyond human limitations. He calls each of us to rise in our own time and place, to speak truth, to act with courage, and to encourage others to do the same. Leadership is not about glory, but about service. True strength is found in faith, and the greatest victories come when we trust God, heed His call, and lift one another up. Whether in moments of crisis or ordinary days, Deborah's life invites us to listen for God's voice, to rise with courage, whatever our role or circumstances, and to know that in God's hands we too can make a difference. Thank you for watching Stories from the Holy Book. May these stories strengthen your faith and guide your heart. Don't forget to subscribe and join us next time for more sacred tales and divine inspiration. God bless you.